Imagine an actor, not just any actor, but one who shook Hollywood to its very core. A man who rewrote the rules of acting, who lived as both a rebel and a legend, admired and criticized, celebrated and misunderstood. This is the story of Marlon Brando, restless, passionate, tragic, and eternal. His life is the tale of a man who fought his own demons while conquering the greatest stage in the world, Hollywood. Marlon Brando Jr. was born on April 3, 1924, in Omaha, Nebraska. His childhood, though seemingly ordinary on the surface, was stormy at its core. His mother, Dorothy, was a free-spirited woman with a love for the theater, but she battled alcoholism throughout her life. His father, Marlon Sr., was strict, cold, and authoritarian. Love was scarce in the Brando household. Young Marlon grew up caught between a mother who was often absent in spirit and a father who was emotionally distant. This shaped him into a withdrawn boy with a vivid imagination, someone who questioned authority and resisted control. As a teenager, Brando was rebellious to the core. Teachers recognized his intelligence, but his constant sarcasm, defiance, and disregard for rules caused endless trouble. He was sent to a military academy in hopes of disciplining him, but the attempt failed. Brando rejected authority in every form, and he was eventually expelled. This defiance against control became a theme that would define not only his career, but his entire life. In the late 1940s, Brando moved to New York City. It was there that he discovered the path that would change his life forever: acting. He trained under Stella Adler and joined the Actors Studio, where he encountered method acting. This revolutionary technique required the actor not to pretend, but to live as the character, absorbing their emotions, their fears, their pain, and expressing them truthfully on stage. Brando embraced this fully. His performances became raw, intense, and breathtakingly real. Broadway audiences witnessed his genius firsthand. In Tennessee Williams' A Streetcar Named Desire, Brando's portrayal of Stanley Kowalski sent shockwaves through the theater world. His energy, his voice, his natural gestures, he wasn't acting in the conventional sense. He was living the role. Audiences had never seen anything like it. Critics hailed him as the future of theater, and Hollywood soon came calling. By the early 1950s, Brando was a rising star in cinema. He reprised Stanley Kowalski in the 1951 film version of A Streetcar Named Desire, delivering a performance that electrified audiences worldwide. Soon after, he portrayed Emiliano Zapata in Viva Zapata and delivered a stirring turn in Julius Caesar. But it was 1954's On the Waterfront that cemented his legacy. As Terry Malloy, the troubled dock worker, Brando gave one of the greatest performances in film history. His line, "I could have been a contender," remains one of cinema's most iconic moments. That role earned him his first Academy Award and secured his place as Hollywood's brightest star. Brando was no longer just an actor. He was a revolutionary force in cinema. His naturalism and intensity broke away from the stiff, theatrical style of the past. He opened the door for a new generation. Without Brando, there would be no Al Pacino, no Robert De Niro, no Jack Nicholson as we know them today. But fame is fragile, and success never lasts forever. By the 1960s, Brando's career began to falter. Poor film choices led to box office disappointments. Critics who once adored him now questioned his abilities. On set, he developed a reputation for being difficult, unpredictable, stubborn, and unwilling to compromise. Hollywood grew tired of his antics. The once revolutionary star was now seen as unreliable and problematic. Yet in 1972, Marlon Brando staged one of the most legendary comebacks in movie history. Francis Ford Coppola cast him as Don Vito Corleone in The Godfather. At first, the studio didn't want him. He was considered a liability. But Brando's screen test silenced every doubt. Stuffing cotton in his cheeks, lowering his voice into a gravelly whisper, he transformed himself into the powerful, haunting figure of Don Corleone. The film became one of the greatest in cinema history, and Brando's performance defined it. He won his second Academy Award, but in a bold move, he refused it. Instead, Native American activist Sasha Littlefeather appeared in his place, condemning Hollywood's treatment of indigenous peoples. It was one of the most shocking and unforgettable moments in Oscar history. Brando's career reached another peak in 1979 with Apocalypse. Now, as Colonel Kurtz, he delivered a dark, poetic, and haunting performance. Though he arrived overweight and unprepared, his sheer presence elevated the film to greatness. Kurtz became another unforgettable character in Brando's repertoire. But by then, his fame was increasingly tied not to his art, but to his chaotic personal life. Marlon Brando's private world was as turbulent as his career. He had countless love affairs, numerous children, and a family life marked by tragedy. His son, Christian Brando, was involved in a murder case. His daughter, Cheyenne, suffered deeply and eventually took her own life. These tragedies broke Brando's heart and left scars that never healed. In his later years, Brando withdrew from the public eye. He struggled with health issues, gained significant weight, and lived much of his life in seclusion. Yet whenever he did appear, whether in interviews or rare film roles, his presence was undeniable. Even in decline, Marlon Brando remained larger than life. On July 1st, 2004, at the age of 80, Marlon Brando passed away. His death marked the end of an era, but his influence never died. Brando didn't just act, he changed acting forever. He brought honesty, vulnerability, and intensity to the screen in ways no one had done before. Today, when people ask, who is the greatest actor in film history? Marlon Brando's name is among the first to be spoken. His rebel spirit, his unforgettable roles, his iconic voice and gaze, they all live on. Brando was more than a movie star. He was a revolutionary, a genius, and a legend. And even in death, Marlon Brando remains eternal.